First of all, feel welcome. I know it's been a long journey to come up to here, and I'm glad to see so many of you, and I'm sure the room will feel a bit more. So I'm Alix. I'm the Chief Digital Officer of ACCOR, and we are obviously a key participant to Eona-X, so we are super, super happy to welcome all of you today. There are a couple of reasons for that, but I was looking at some articles and some declarations we did by the past, and data sharing has been something really up in our agenda at ACCOR for a very long time. Our CEO, Sébastien Bazin, was talking about it in 2013 already when he joined ACCOR. And so it's been a topic very, very important, and it's more and more important these days for a couple of reasons. First of all, because customer expectations are changing. We're looking at doing more personalized and seamless experiences for our travelers. So for this reason, we need more data. Second, because regulations are also changing. If you think about the end of third-party cookies, what it will do to our businesses, this is also super important for us to get equipped on sharing data. And the third reason is because technology is also evolving. AI is obviously all over the place, and who says AI says data, and the necessity to feed all this model with also quality data. So for all these reasons, I'm super excited by Eona-X and what it can provide. Data sharing is not something we can each do in our corner. We need scale, we need platforms, we need collaboration, standards, best practice sharing, and this is all these reasons why Eona-X is so important. And maybe the last piece, which is important to me and which I spoke a lot, especially with David, is the importance of having a business-driven approach. This is super important for me, for my team, but for a lot of participants to these initiatives, that we think of the business, we think of the customer first, and derive values through these data sharing aspects. And in the past 18 months, a lot has evolved, a lot of interesting use cases are emerging. This is a lot of what you're going to hear today. I hope you'll find a lot of interesting insights for your own purposes. I do, and I think there is so much more we can do together. On that note, I wanted to thank David. I don't know, where is David? David, if you want to come to the stage. So David, who has been obviously leading the initiative. Thank you so much, David, for your involvement, for the involvement of ADP. You guys have been key leaders on that front. I also wanted to thank all the speakers you'll see today, the moderators. I hope you'll find their insights interesting. And on that note, feel welcome, have an amazing day, and don't hesitate if you need anything. Hospitality is our business, so please raise your hand if something is not going as expected. Thanks, David.
Thank you. Thank you, dear Alix, for your kind and inspiring words. And thank you for welcoming us in this beautiful, beautiful headquarters of ACCOR Group. We are very fortunate to be here today. I also want to extend my thanks to all of you who are here today. All of you have made room in your very busy schedules to be here with us. And I know for a fact that some of you traveled from a place quite far away, and that some of you had to juggle with important appointments today. And I might read too much into it, you'll tell me, but I can't help but see it as a sign that for many of us, Eona-X has become not just an interesting beast, but also maybe a useful one. And that's what we'll talk about today. So since our last meeting, our last summit that happened 1 year ago, roughly, held by Jean-François Cazès, who organized it masterfully in Amadeus office under the beautiful skies of southern France, actually, the attendance has doubled. I know you mentioned that there will be 260 people expected here today. That is twice the number of people who attended last year's summit. It is, of course, a testimony to the success of last year's summit, with the interest that has been shared and word of mouth, of course. It is also a testimony to the work that has been done by the Eona-X team during the last year. But I think this is also the sign that there is a clear momentum being built around data space as a whole. And Before I dive into how we are leveraging this momentum and nurturing it, feeding it, I want to take the time to actually thank the institutions that are responsible in the first place to build this momentum, to make all of this adventure possible. So first one, of course, is the Gaia-X team and the French hub that really design all those architecture principles which we take for granted today, which bring all of us together and make the whole data space vision actually a reality. I want to thank also the European Commission that plays a tremendous role into structuring the data space community at European level, and also in giving us a clear horizon, in giving us a direction. We were competing for 6 European calls at Eona-X, and we were fortunate enough to win all 6 of them in consortium. And I shall say that the main benefit of those calls is, of course, the funding that they provide, but it is also equally important, if not more, is the ability to make consortiums, is the ability to establish connection between like-minded institutions, like-minded initiatives across Europe. And that is something that will be an ongoing legacy, I am convinced. And finally, of course, I also want to extend my thanks to the French state and administration. We were labelized France 2030, France 2030, by DGE and BPI, that provided us with the necessary impulse and the funding to really launch our adventure at scale. We have excellent relationship which we will develop today with the Ministry of Interior and the DENUM. Mathieu for the Olympics with the Ministry of Transportation, DGITM, in the context of the EDIC that we are currently in the process of working out, how that new thing can work. And of course, also the technical partners that were already here and that have a really impressive level, an impressive degree of maturity on the topic of data space. So, yes, you see, when you see all those people working hard, working before our time on data space, you might see that we have somehow a rich network of highly skilled people paving the way for us. So, actually, at Eona-X, we have it easy, very easy. It's a dream job. Everything is done. All we have to do is put the bricks together. It's pretty simple. But, and there is always a but, all this only works if you have use cases, if you have actual economically sound use cases that can be used in the data space. Picture this, if you will. If you have many use cases in the data space, you will have users using the data space, you will have reasons to actually ensure its quality, ensure the quality of its data, you will have people scrutinizing its ontology being a fancy word for catalog, and you will have actually more use cases being developed because the data space will become a mainstream way to exchange data. And if you do not have many use cases, on the other hand, well, you get the picture. The data space will wither and die out pretty quickly. So, well, I have a confession, Alix. At the beginning of my speech, I thanked you, but I had a bit of jealousy in my heart when I did that, because actually you got to say the most important thing of this entire introduction, and you got to say it first. It was that we need to have economically profitable use cases to ensure the life of the data space. Why economically profitable use cases? Because, of course, we can always develop use cases, build upon public interest, and that is important to do so. But we know it will not be enough to sustain the data space. We know that having use cases built on the pursuit of private interest is important. We do not only need people to share data because they agree to do so. We need them to want to do so. We need them to be actually keen on sharing, to be angry if they cannot. And that is what we have to define currently. So, yes, That's what we've been up to for the last year. You have it all here in one sentence. And that is what we will describe today. And we cannot do this alone. We cannot define what will be relevant use cases only among ourselves. So we had to find some relays, some partners to have a discussion and think this through with us. We had also to convince new people, new members to join us. And I am thrilled to announce today that since the meeting you organized, dear Marine, at Bercy in March for the French hub of Gaia-X, we are welcoming 6 new members in the big Eona-X family. So, of course, thank you. That is Capgemini, Digital New Deal, Atout France, Métropole Nice-Côte d'Azur, WeMap, and all the way to wonderful startups. And oh, I see time is running, so I'll be quick. And so yes, so the whole summit will be organized, will be gravitating around this issue. Really, how can we define use cases that people actually want? So for that, as you all know, we've set ourselves a challenge, maybe a bit of audacious, if not inconsiderate one, to be there for the Olympics. So, and to have a useful contribution. Useful is a key word. A useful contribution to the Olympics. And the first roundtable will be revolving around this topic precisely. We'll have 2 other roundtables around the thematics where use cases can emerge and what use cases can they be. First one being on the travel experience, and second being around smart territory and connection to the surroundings. We'll have 2 roundtables focused on methodology aspects. How can we define use cases? How can we nurture them? First one will be around getting competitors to cooperate when it comes to data sharing, and what are the conditions for that. If they do not want to cooperate, it is often for good reasons. We need to acknowledge that. And second one would be rather more academically inclined. It will revolve around the economics of the data exchange. What happens when 2 companies exchange data? We know what happens when you have B2C involved. It's been pretty well documented. It's really a very interesting read. But what happens when 2 companies exchange data? Because at the end of the day, trust is ensured by technology. When I share my data, am I sharing it with the right person, the person I trust? Will it be used only in the context I agree to? But it's also based on my anticipation. What will happen when I share the data? Am I mistaken? Am I on the right track? What future am I drawing for myself? So that's really an economic topic, and it needs to be more studied, I think. And finally, we'll have, sorry, I'm sure not to forget anything. Up. And we will have finally 2 roundtables focusing on broader themes. First one being the European Union vision. What is the future at European level for data sharing? Data spaces in particular, and data sharing in general. That's tremendously important because that gives us a common horizon, of course. And second broader roundtable would be on the relationships between data spaces and artificial intelligence. We all know that artificial intelligence is a very hot topic. And we all know that artificial intelligence, to be trained, need quality data that are described, understandable, and of quality. And data space is all about making data available. So clearly there is something to be done, and data space can be a fuel to develop artificial intelligence based in Europe. And that's what we want to tackle. We also have a keynote. We'll have the chance of having a keynote by Gilles Babinet on AI, data, and green and the environment. How can it help? And Karima Deli, MEP, will say the final words for this summit. So yes, I think it will be a very productive day. It It is a day that, that will be targeting toward how can the data space be useful. So you have the right, you have, if I may say, you need to be, we expect you to be very adamant about it. We expect you to question us, to challenge us when you think it's not concrete enough and when you think we can do more. And I wish you a very good summit.